Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How in the world are you? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation. And we're here, crack-a-lacking here, once again, building and compiling and composing another great episode that is the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Coming at you live from the place that started it all, over at the Asian Sensation Studios over in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Yeah, once again, it's for a limited time engagement. So the fact that that I'm even doing this at the Asian Sensation Studios is pretty wild. I think it's safe to say that a part of the summer here at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, we're going to be back at the Asian Sensation Studios. And, again, it was great. It was great in the last episode to record over at the Asian Sensation Studio because it just, again, brought out a lot of great memories, the nostalgias, the fact that a good portion of our existence, I know for a fact it was like season 1, season 2, I think that was the home. That was the official home. Parts of, season 3, I think. But yeah, we had great times and great memories, and, I'm feeling really good about it, and it's just really awesome, man. It's really, really cool. I don't want to get all emotional or teary-eyed, but there's just a sense of happiness and pride. When I came in here, I smiled. I'm like, man, this is cool. This is cool, and that's where we are right now. Obviously, it's we're as I'm recording right now, the beginning of the new week. Pretty excited. It's as we speak right now. It's Monday, the 18th of May. As we are recording, so I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but yeah, I mean, summer's coming around the corner. I'm really looking forward to it. I think right now, we're going to be for at least for today. The high is going to be around 93 or 94 degrees Fahrenheit in Washington, D.C. So the summer has cometh already, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty damn wild. Never did I think that the sun was going to be this hot and this blaring already, and we're not even in the month of June yet. So, wow, I'm just totally jazzed. But I know that I'm probably going to be kicking myself as the summer begins, because normally in the DMV, once June hits, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and more humid. And when you mix humidity with, hot weather, it's unbearable, and a lot of people will be regretting life, So I don't mean to add any, dramatics into it, but that's just the truth, That's just the DMV way of hot times, summer in the city kind of a thing. So let me just go right ahead and jump right into it. Obviously, this weekend was a great weekend for many reasons. One of them was the fact that I got a chance to hang out with one of my good friends, Chrissy Bromwell, who I've known for years. She and I have been very good friends. We've known each other through going to concerts together at the Maryland local scene, and it's pretty cool. She came over along with her 2 daughters, Anissa and Natalina. And Natalina being the youngest, celebrating her 16th birthday. So real quick shout out to Natalina. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope that you actually enjoyed it. I hope that you also enjoyed the cooking that I offered. I know it was a lot of fun. But also the fact that we all got a chance, like everybody else around the world, got a chance to see the fight. Yeah, Jake Paul's new MMA promotion, MVP and he brought out a new fight organization, which had an event live on Netflix featuring the fight of the century as it was billed, Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey in a 5-round fight. Now, the whole event and the whole card was very interesting because a lot of fighters that I've saw, I was like, okay, they're alumni of the UFC. So to see some of them fight did bring some good memories because I would say, oh yeah, Francis Ngannou, yeah, he was a good fighter in the UFC in the heavyweight division and was really giving guys the blues and putting boys out of their misery. Or Nick Diaz. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, all right, cool. Or I'm sorry, Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz was fighting. And a couple other people, Junior Dos Santos and all that. But to actually have that whole event basically being, encompassing around 2 women, the main event itself was led by women, which was already very powerful as it is, because I'm like, man, for sure, they definitely deserve that spotlight. Women are trailblazers in any and every industry, and MMA is, no different. In one corner, you had Gina Carano that really started the MMA phase for a lot of women. And just being the trailblazer that she is and the fighter that she is and having a great career. At the time, I think she only had, one defeat, which was by Chris Cyborg. And if anybody knows Chris Cyborg in the MMA game, yeah, she's a real headhunter, that one. Very strong and very powerful. So, yeah, in one corner, you had that. In the other corner, you had Ronda Rousey. Bronze medalist for women's judo back in 2008 in the Beijing Olympic Games, as well as a former champion over on Strikeforce, having a great career, and then of course winning fights over in the UFC, became the champion over there. And also for those that are fans of the WWE, she was a WWE wrestling champion. Yes, had to put it out there. This was basically a fight that was built like, the battle of the icons, battle of the trailblazers. And I think that they did a very good job marketing that whole fight because, it's like here Gina Carano coming back after 17-year layoff. She was concentrating on doing movies like Deadpool. She was also in The Mandalorian. She was also over in, what was it? I believe that she was in one of the Fast and Furious movies for sure. And then you had Ronda Rousey, being a professional wrestler, taking time off, trying to be, a family woman and so forth because she got married to Travis Brown. They had a kid together. And she wanted to step away from the limelight just to be a regular, ordinary person. And then next thing you know, Jake Paul comes up with an idea like, hey, I want to get her and I want to get her and I want to get this thing going. And it got the world thinking, especially in the MMA world, what would happen if we had 2 icons, 2 legends of the sport, get in the middle of the MMA ring and fight? What would have happened? Well, it went down this past Saturday, and I will say this, at least into my opinion, because I know there's a lot of people talking about it, because it boils down to the question, did it live up to the hype? Some people said that it did because, obviously with the way that they promoted it and the way that it went down, other people felt a little bit disappointed and whatnot and what have you. If you want me to go ahead and break down the fight, I definitely will. This is where I put the spoiler alert. For those that do have Netflix and did not catch it, you can catch it. It is on a replay because it is a Netflix thing. yeah, you obviously will have access to the replay and play it over and over again, because Lord knows that I did even shortly after the event, you know what I mean? But let me give you the breakdown. The fight started, slow feeling out process. Ronda Rousey goes ahead and gets the double legs, takes Gina Carano down, right? Boom. Gina Carano goes in for an attempted guillotine choke, which failed. At that point, Ronda Rousey takes control, does a little ground and pound, maybe one or two punches, and then locks in the arm bar, winning in the first round at 17 seconds of the first round. You heard correctly, 17 seconds. Like not even 1 minute, not even 30 seconds, 17 seconds. And which is, to me, I'm like, wow, because if I remember, the quickest fight that Ronda Rousey ever had, I think, was at 14 seconds in the UFC, fighting Kat Zingano, where Kat Zingano tried something crazy of like a flying knee attack, and then she just got caught and boom, arm bar, and it was over. It was completely over after that. A lot of people felt a little cheated because it was like, wow, the fight ended too quickly. They were hoping that, it was going to be like a full 5-round fight. You saw video montages on Netflix of both women preparing. Gina Carano doing a lot of like mitt work with her Muay Thai and everything like that, and working on some striking. You saw Ronda Rousey working on her boxing a little bit, her judo game, of course, and she actually was working a little bit on her kicking, which surprised me. But then again, I feel like to be a complete martial artist, I feel like you have to be diversified in everything, especially in the MMA game. Here's my opinion, and I'm just going to say it like this. That was pretty much vintage Ronda Rousey of old. You know what I mean? Just like, Ronda, quick within it and in a minute. Meaning that she was in there fast, she wanted to end it fast, and there it is. You know what I mean? And I kind of knew that she was probably going to win, because I had said this before, and I think I actually said it to Monica Lee, who, once again, for those that know Monica Lee, number one, she is a good friend. She is a good friend, and I got nothing but a lot of love and respect for Monica. And forever and a day, Monica and I will always be friends until, until it's time. Not to make it dramatic or anything. But Monica Lee has her own podcast called the Drive-Thru Podcast with Monica Lee. And she was on social media, I believe she was on TikTok, talking about the fight and talking about like what she thought and everything like that. And she asked me about my opinion, and I just said to her flat out, I said, if it goes to the ground, it is guaranteed that Ronda will win. If it goes stand-up, I give it a 50-50 shot, meaning I think that, more likely Gina Carano might have a winning chance. Did I think it was going to go all 5 rounds? No. Was I hoping? Well, I was hoping that it would be a little bit longer, but again, when Ronda sticks to her guns and she does what she does, she sticks to the game that she's used to, and she goes into something that she's comfortable with, guess what? That's when she's at her most dangerous, and that is when she's at her best. Why are you going to try to do something that you know that you can't do very well, that you're not versed in, and possibly risk a loss instead of a victory? And that's what Ronda did. She came in, she understood the mission. One sight, one kill. She saw everything going her way. She took the opportunity, pulled the trigger, and boom, it just went the way that it did. Classic Ronda Rousey style. And, I'm glad for both women, but, regardless of the fact that Ronda won and, Gina Carano lost, and or vice versa if it did happen. The fact that they main evented the whole thing was awesome. I think it was great for MMA. I think it was great for women's MMA, and I think it was great for women in general. You know what I mean? It was really, really cool. And you know, there's been a lot of talk about both of them should come back. Either they run it back or they should just come back and do more things. I was quite shocked that Ronda basically said, you know, in a sense, I believe she was saying that it was going to be it for her. I mean, there's nothing, I don't think that there's anything else for her to do, anything left to prove. She would have no reason to come back afterwards, you know what I mean? Which I understood. And I think it's respectable that she just wants to continue on with life and maybe increase her family, you know what I mean, and work on family life. I think Gina, and I think also Gina Carano, she's, from what it sounded like in her interview, I don't think that she's done yet. I think that she still has some unfinished business. So I think that, you know, maybe she might come back. In my opinion, I think both women should come back. You know what I mean? I think that Gina should come back again just to have that feeling of maybe going against a striker and really trying to earn that victory. And then from there, I mean, who knows? As for Ronda, I feel like if it could possibly happen, I think that she should come back, because before they were talking about, you know, Ronda Rousey going against Chris Cyborg. That would be the fight that everybody would love to see. I mean, you know, Chris Cyborg is a tough woman from Curitiba, Brazil, who is a master in Muay Thai kickboxing, but also is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So when you have, you know, those two dynamics together going into a fight with possibly, you know, one of the baddest women in the planet with Ronda Rousey, you can't help but to think, man, this is a great fight opportunity and could probably bring in, you know, lots and lots of money. But it really depends on the situation of, you know, where Ronda's at. If she's just completely satisfied with where she's at and she doesn't want to do it anymore, then that's her decision and that's her prerogative. If Chris Cyborg is all about it and she's like, yeah, you know, I want to do the fight and so forth, you know, if you bring money on the table, I would be willing to do it. And why not? You know, I think money makes people do a lot of crazy things. And if you put the money on the table, yeah, you know, maybe this thing could possibly happen. Now, I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying there's potential there. But, hey, what do I know? You know, I'm just a martial artist that's a fan of MMA and will follow it till the end of time, you know. So, we'll see. You know, I mean, could it be out there? Could it possibly work? Maybe not. Who knows? Guys, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break. We're going to come right back and we'll come into the second segment, and then you just know what it is. So do what you need to do. Take a little break, but come back, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, we're just getting started. I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right, you heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for like the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
I had an episode last week where one of the questions on my Q&A form sparked a little bit of buzz. And the question, that was getting a lot of traction was about the situation about having a bad podcasting experience, whether if it was on my podcast or someone else's podcast as a guest. And then I went on a little bit more about, my bad experiences and so forth. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity if I actually went in that rabbit hole and talked about it and talked a little bit about what was going on during that time, what am I talking about, and et cetera, right? So let's talk about it in this perspective. Everybody wants to have a good time, no doubt about it. When it comes to being a guest on someone's podcast, or you're having a podcast and you're having a guest, the common denominator is the following: that you want to know exactly about that person and you want to have a good time. Nobody wants to have a rotten time. Nobody wants to go over to a show voluntarily and say, hey, I want to have a bad time because, I deserve to be treated like crap, or I deserve to not have a good moment in the sun. And that's 100% true. I don't know of any person at all that wants to go over to a podcast show and literally have a bad time and a bad experience. I know for a fact from myself that if I had a guest over, I don't want them to have a terrible time. And also at the same time, if I was a guest on somebody else's podcast, I sure as hell do not want to have a bad time. Now, what does it mean about having a bad time? Like, what are the symptoms and so forth? Let me give you the classic case. If at any point that you feel as a guest, if you feel uncomfortable with what the host is doing, acting a certain way or asking questions that you feel uncomfortable with, even though you've probably before the show dropped guidelines about like, hey, I don't want to talk about this and I don't want to talk about that because that's going to make me feel uncomfortable. If we can avoid those subject matters, I would appreciate that. And they still egg you on anyways and start, ripping off the Band-Aid and going down that rabbit hole, right? As a guest, it would make you feel uncomfortable because you're there to have a good time, have a good experience, talk about yourself, promote whatever it is of a project that you might be involved in, whether if you are an actor promoting for the next production that's coming out, or if you're a musician that's promoting a brand new album that dropped, with the help of you and your bandmates, you really want to go ahead and do that. You don't want to feel like you're not in control or you feel less than. for a podcasting host, you don't want to have a guest that's going to feel like, they control everything and they're being out of line and they're saying things that they shouldn't be saying that's kind of inappropriate to you. That sort of thing. You don't want to catch a tone where, if you're the guest, you don't want to catch a tone from the host that would make you feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit uneasy. Hosts, you don't want to catch a tone that, you feel like it's offensive to what the guest has said and you feel a certain way about it, Also, bad experiences. Let's say there was a podcast episode or there was like a video interview or something like that, and you did it and it never went through. There's no evidence of it. That episode is not even in the archives. That to me is an ultimate insult. And I get it. I totally get it. I mean, for some people, it's like, man, this is the most effed up thing ever in life. To have somebody come and say that they want to interview you, right? And then all of a sudden, after it's all said and done, you did exactly what you needed to do. You went through the ring of fires, and you jumped through a lot of hoops. You did exactly what you needed to do. You know what I mean? Without any argument, and still, the evidence of you being in an episode of that podcast, or you being in in a video YouTube interview, never showed up. To me, I feel like that is insulting. And to me, I feel like, man, that is the worst. That is the absolute worst. If your word is not your bond, and if you don't do anything to make something like this a reality, of putting this stuff out there for the world to see and hear, you're no better than what's going on in the world today. You're just as guilty. And, that goes to a little story that I have right now for you, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to go ahead and grab a beer, go ahead and drink it and down it. Or if you're not down with the alcohol or beer, grab a soda, drink that, or drink water, whatever it is, your beverage of pleasure. Because I got a story for you. Years ago, I was slated to have a video interview that was going to be on YouTube. And the mastermind behind it was a local director in the DMV area by the name of Lee Dahl. Now, I've acted a lot in a lot of Lee Dahl projects, The Fixer, Tales of the Fixer, a lot of, Luana Lee projects. I've done that. I've always showed up. I've always done my time with them. I've always been professional. I've always did what they wanted me to do. You cannot find any fault in what I did whatsoever. Lee had decided that he wanted to invite me to go ahead and do, a YouTube video interview. You know what I mean? And I said, yeah, why not? Sure, I would love to do that. Because when you, as an actor, hear that, you want to take every opportunity, right? You want to take the opportunity, you want to promote yourself, you want to be out there. Who wouldn't want to be seen on YouTube? I was really jazzed about it. I was telling all of my friends and family members all over in the United States and Canada and in France and even in Vietnam. They knew what was going on, and they were really proud. They were like, oh, wow, let us know when this stuff drops. We would love to see it and show people and have a good time. And when I actually got there on the day of the interview, that was the same day that one of my good friends, Mark, was going to be recording his segment of the interview on YouTube for this show that Lee Dahl was doing. Now, Mark is a good friend of mine. I love Mark. Mark was in a band called Clear for Takeoff. He was the keyboardist and also co-lead singer. And yeah, it was really cool. The fact that I got to see him, he got to see me. He knew that I was going to go ahead and do this, and I knew that he was going to get interviewed. So we understood the mission, and Mark went first. And I was there. I saw Mark do his thing, and it was great. Mark was like a natural, a pro. And I don't know what it was, but maybe at the time, maybe it was because of, his status as a musician in a local band that is known, in the DMV very well and is highly respected. And people respect Mark because Mark is a real hardworking individual that is just bad on the keyboards. Like, my man can, just, and just do it. And he's so good at it, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it was just because of that, but, Lee was tickled to death. The person that did the interviewing was a woman by the name of Kate Jackson. So after seeing it, I literally went to Mark and I was like, Mark, that's incredible. And he's like, dude, it's nothing. It's great. You'll have a good time. Just be yourself and you'll be fine, right? So we go ahead and we record my stuff, and obviously I'm having a good time. I'm doing my thing. I thought I was doing everything right. And for some weird reason, afterwards, just something fell a little off. Now, I was told in the beginning of this thing, and I was told after the end of my interview that, yeah, your interview will be shown on YouTube. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. And I was really excited. Again, I'm playing towards, Lee Dahl and the Lee Dahl Productions, doing exactly what they wanted me to do and doing my best to do whatever it is that they asked of me, right? And I was so jazzed and I was excited for it. And soon enough, when I saw on social media, Mark's YouTube piece was already out. So I just thought to myself, okay, if his stuff is out, then mine should be not far behind from his. Maybe it'll be out on the same day. Maybe it might be like a couple of days from now, but it's coming, right? It's coming. Oh, wow. That's a little bit of an alarm of my rice cooker actually going on. So, hail to the rice cooker. So yeah, I was like, okay, cool. It's not going to be long now. And soon enough, I'm waiting. Days turn to weeks. Weeks turn into months. And, my episode never showed up at all. It's kind of like they just kind of dissolved me. They dissolved my episode. They just, all that hard work, man. All of what I said with my feeling and my heart and my soul, turned, into ash. And, to be honest with you, I was really hurt about it. I was really hurt about it, and I felt a certain way about it. Even to this day, I talked to Mark years later, recently, about that. And when he heard about that, and he heard that on my podcast of the last episode, he texted me and he said, dude, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I support you 100%. I didn't know that happened. That was royally messed up. And yeah, I would be upset too. So everything that you're feeling is justified. And don't feel bad, because now you got your own thing going. It's great. And I'm proud of you. And I love Mark for that. I really do. I think it's great and I think it's wonderful. But again, it doesn't take away from the fact of what Lee Dahl did and how hurt I was and how I felt like the lowest common denominator at that moment. Now, I want to go on record that I'm going to say that I don't think that Lee Dahl is a bad guy. I like Lee Dahl. Matter of fact, I think Lee Dahl is a, nice person. He has always been there for me and always wanted to see what I can do with my acting. And he has done that because of the various projects of his that I was involved in. But ladies and gentlemen, let me if there's anything that I learned from that situation on that day, and I apply it to me right now at this very moment, it's very simple. If I'm going to be interviewing somebody on my podcast show, then I'm going to go ahead and air it out. Whether if it turned out to be a bad thing or a good thing, I will put it out there. Why? Very simple. Because they took the time out of their busy schedule to go ahead and to dedicate themselves to do this episode of a podcast or a video interview. Traveling over there took a lot of time, took gas, it took all of that. You know what I mean? Some people don't have the time to do that. Some people don't have the resources to get over there to the location to get interviewed. Some people want to save their gas because, maybe they want to go ahead and put work first, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just felt like I was really hurt. I felt like it was bad. And I learned. And that's why I always tell people, look, I want to give people a chance. I want people to get their story to be heard. And whether if it turned bad or not, they deserve to go ahead and get their moment in the sun. The only time that I would, in part two of it is that if I didn't want to have that person be on my podcast show, if I felt like they were going to do a bad job, or I feel like the partnership at that time, between working with that person versus the other person towards me, if I felt like it didn't work, I wouldn't have put them in my podcast anyways. I wouldn't have sent them that invitation. And I feel like a lot of people should follow that rule. If you feel uncomfortable with somebody to be on your podcast or to be in a video interview, don't ask them. Don't invite them. You're better off doing that than to give you a promise that ended up to be a broken promise, which looks bad on you. I'm going to put anything out there. Like if I interview somebody and it turned out like crap, but I was somewhat satisfied and and whatnot, and I like the person, guess what? I will put it out there. Because as a professional podcaster, I have to put it out there in order to save face, save my honor, and to have proper integrity. And I think that's all that people want is, if I'm on your podcast, I would like for that stuff to come out. And I want evidence. If I'm doing a video interview on podcast, I want that evidence out there. I invested too much of my own time to be there and not to have anything. And what the messed up part was, all my family members were wondering what the heck was going on. Where was the interview? How come we can't see it? How come we can't access it? Ask the people who did the interview. Don't know what to tell you. We're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, you know what time it is. Q&A forum. Got a lot of questions to answer. Can't wait. Do what you need to do, but come right back. Because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, we're just putting it in 6th gear, baby. And we're burning rubber.
In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are here for the final portion of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. You know what time it is. Let me drop that regular announcement that the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking for help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there that would like to assist our podcast show by the ways of sponsorship and / or financially donating to the podcast show to help make the quality of our podcast better. Any and all proceeds / money that we raise will go towards getting more equipment and better equipment that we need, such as more microphones for our in-studio guests, XLR cables that are associated with those microphones, extra headphones for our in-studio guests, and even a brand new MacBook Pro, which is the official computer of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Every time that you hear an episode and you hear like how it's pieced together and the clarity, it wouldn't have been possible without that MacBook Pro. You know what I mean? It's definitely a great lifeline. Now, whatever that you can donate, no matter what the amount is appreciated. Insert joke. If you want to donate $5 million, which I don't think anybody would donate it, but you never know, thank you. We would accept it, and hell, we would even call you an executive producer. To even as low as $5, every little bit helps, and we would appreciate your assistance. And you can make a donation by the following. If you have PayPal and or Venmo, go ahead and donate. Make that donation to my tag name at Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, that's at KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. Yes, PayPal is also on the website of www.paypal.com. I'm pretty sure Venmo is too, like Venmo.com or something like that. And if you have the app called Cash App, donate to my tag name, $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, that's the $ KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have it in my hands right now. The Q&A form, question and answers. That's right. You ask them questions, and we will answer it. Hell yeah. Now, normally, we have 7 questions, but I've been nice. I've been involving bonus questions. So today, 7 regular questions and 3 bonus questions, all for a grand total of 10. I'm excited. And just to make sure that we are on track, I will make sure that I have a pen with me so I can go ahead and check out each of the questions once I'm done. So, that being said, let's get rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get it one time for the one time? Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead, man. I'm excited. Question number 1. Kim, what are the pros and the cons of studying multiple martial arts simultaneously? Shannon from Elk Ridge, Maryland. Yo, I was actually in Elk Ridge last week. You know what I mean? So it's always good when we have local fans and local listeners, from the home state to come over and listen and drop in a question. We appreciate that. Let me start out with the cons. The cons of studying multiple martial arts at the same time is that it's exactly what it is. You're studying a lot of martial arts styles at the same time. So, when one system, you got to concentrate on A, B, and C material, you have now the second art at the same time, where now you're concentrating on D, E, and F. Sometimes, that does kind of interfere with the learning process a little bit. And I know that because I've actually been told that to from a lot of people that have confirmed it. So it's not just me saying it. It's other people that I know within the martial art community that has conceded that notion. Now, the pros are pretty cool in the sense that, not only am I learning Taekwondo, but I'm learning Japanese Goju-Ryu karate. And I'm also learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm actually, it's cool to actually blend a lot of styles together and just, be a little bit more open-minded to each and every art. You know what I mean? So I think that's what, your pros and cons are. Everybody else is a little bit different. It's subject to, to the individual. But that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? So there it is. Question number 2. Kim, is there a musical act/band that is not around anymore that you wish would make a return? Lewis from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Lewis, that's very easy for me. Honestly, and I know I'm probably going to get, judged by it, I really wish that NSYNC would come back. Honestly and truly, because right now, what the heck are they doing? You know what I mean? Justin Timberlake already had like a solo album already out there and did it. And they did maybe like a teaser of like them getting back together. They did one song together recently, but I think that honestly, if they got themselves back together, it would sell out majorly worldwide. The possibilities here are very endless here. I mean, hell, if the Backstreet Boys are still doing it, you know what I'm saying? If they're still doing it, still, going out and doing tours and shows all over and making a killing and making albums, why can't NSYNC do the same? That's all I'm saying. And for all of us NSYNC fans, we probably would definitely get our money's worth. No doubt about it. Now, number 3. Kim, are LG televisions much superior to Samsung televisions in terms of the quality? Ananda from Syracuse, New York. I might be a little biased here, but I'm going to say yes. I think that LG TVs do have a lot more technologically than Samsung. I think visually it's a better presentation, and I think honestly you do get a lot more for your money when it comes to having an LG TV. Now, I'm not disrespecting Samsung, because Samsung does make a great product. And there are people that do buy their television. You know, it's a good company, you know. But I just think that LG outshines it, you know, by a good thin margin, maybe a thicker margin, but you know, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, you know, the comparison is like in boxing, you know, who is the better boxer, you know, between you know, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman, you know what I mean? You know, people will debate that for years, you know what I mean? So, or they might say, you know, who's the better chef between, you know, Bobby Flay and Masaharu Morimoto? Again, just another example. So, LG, you know, I believe it is the victor in this overall, you know, because I do believe they have the better, superior quality. But LGs are no, they're no slouch. You know, at least it's a lot better than, let's say, what is that? TCL, and then there's, what's that one? Vizio? Yeah, at least it's a lot better than that. Question number 4, Kim, in your opinion, how important is it to protect all aspects of your smartphone/iPhone device? Melvin from Westchester, Pennsylvania. Melvin, very important. You do not want to have your phone, whether it be a Samsung phone or an iPhone, to be damaged in any way possible. I have learned that through a lesson from a friend of mine. True story. Recently bought a new iPhone. Got a 17. Fresh out the box. He had said that, you know, I'm not going to get anything now. I think I'm good. I don't have to worry about it being damaged. I'm going to be all right. And next thing you know, he's using his phone and it slips out. And boom, it hits the concrete. And we're talking about damaged glass on the front part of it, the body, lot of scratches, even like the lenses where you take, like, you know, your photos and whatnot, completely shattered and broken. And I felt bad for him. I really felt bad for him because that was fresh out the box. So the fact that he did that, you know, I'm just like, oh, like, you know, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like in shock. I was in shock. So yes, that alone is a reason why you need to invest in stuff to protect your phone. You know, like an extra, you know, film of glass in front of your, you know, your screen. An actual case to protect the, you know, the whole aspect of the body of the phone. And even, like, you know, a lens protector to kind of protect the lenses so it won't get, you know, shattered. You know, now here's the thing. If you have like something with your cell phone company where you're paying top dollar for, you know, accidental coverages, like, you know, like broken phone and or lost phone, fine. But in order to avoid that at all costs, protect the investment. Protect every aspect of the phone. It may cost a little, but you save so much in the end, I guarantee it. So don't be that person. You know, protect your phone, get the stuff that you need, and I guarantee you that in the end, it'll be all worth it, hands down. Better to go through it that way than to, let's say, break your phone and you have to spend, you know, another $2,000 on a phone. So that's all I have to say. Question number 5, Kim, is there a TV series or a TV show series that you have never watched that you are finally seeing for the first time? Emily from Lawrence, Kansas. Yes. I have Netflix to thank for that. And I'm currently watching Grey's Anatomy. Believe it or not, I've never really seen Grey's Anatomy at all, and I'm finally just like catching up to the game right now. That is the show. I do remember it for the fact that one of my favorite actresses, Katherine Heigl, is in that series. And I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited to see her character as Dr. Izzy Stevens. Also, there is the Asian Korean actress who's from Canada, Sandra Oh, who I think is an incredible actress. And thank God we have Asian representation. And y'all know how I feel about Asian representation, having being included, inclusiveness within the acting community. It's already hard enough that certain races don't get their fair share in the sun, let alone like a real good lead. So the fact that we see Sandra Oh being one of like the main characters and getting her moment in the sun, I'm like, yo, that's what's up. I'm definitely down for the business. Question number 6. Kim, what are your thoughts on videos that are created by AI that later get posted online? Samuel from Ontario, California. Wow, okay. Samuel, here's I know I'm probably going to get burned by my answer. I don't care. But I will say this. If you create a video, for example, using AI that includes just yourself, I think it's pretty cool. Because let's say, for example, you can make an AI video of yourself being a superhero and you might have these rad superpowers and it's good for that purpose of like, man, the imagination gone wild and, it's coming from the artificial intelligence point of view. You know what I mean? And I think from that point, I think it's pretty cool. Now, I can see why people are not about AI because, people will make videos through AI that are not true and some might find it offensive and whatnot. But I think that's when somebody actually takes it a little bit too far. You know what I mean? If you're just doing something like, hey, I'm going to make an AI video of me being a contestant on Iron Chef America and beating Bobby Flay, yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. It's not really harming anybody and it's like all in fun. But if you're doing something, people are really responsible for the stuff that they do and the content that they make. So I'm just trying to see it from a good point of view, you know what I mean? And be a little bit more taking the light road, So there it is. Question number 7, and then we got some bonus questions. Kim, a few episodes back, you said that you would buy a pair of Adidas shoes from Costco. Did you end up buying them? Caitlin from Renton, Washington. Caitlin, yes, I did actually. I bought them, although I'm kicking myself now because the pair that I bought was like, let's say it was $35 at the time, right? Heck of a deal. Anytime that you're buying anything from Costco, you're getting a great deal. Even though you have to buy it in bulk, it's a great deal. The same shoes are now lowered to $28.99, which is even a better deal. You save yourself even more money. And I wouldn't mind buying another pair. They're great. They're comfortable. People who have wide feet, it's good. It's already wide enough. So, you get that little bit of that extra comfort, not only lengthwise, but widthwise as well. And I think that for the price that it's asking, it's pretty solid. No doubt about it. Matter of fact, I also bought some matching Adidas jackets too. I bought a black one and a blue one. Might even buy the gray one to complete the collection. So, there it is. And ladies and gentlemen, now we enter the bonus round. That's right, the bonus round. I'm excited, and these bonus questions are really rad. So let me go ahead and start the bonus round. Ding, ding, ding. Question number 8. Here we go. Kim, what are your opinions of people with various vibes? What's your philosophies on this matter? Carl from Springfield, Illinois. Carl, number one, I gotta say that's a great question. You definitely threw me for a loop. Allow me to answer it in this way. And I'm going to just use myself as the reference. I meet a lot of people in life. People of all walks of life, right? And overall, I think it's pretty cool that I meet people because I don't want them to be as, the same as I am. Now, if they happen to be that way, cool, that's all that there is. But if they are different than me, then it gives me a chance to really learn about that individual and appreciate them. And if I can find a great common ground to build a friendship and a relationship on, boom, then we're in there. The most important thing to me is that if a person comes at me correct and has really good energy, they're not really stressing me out. If they come with me with respect and so forth, and they just have good energies and good vibes, 100%, yeah, absolutely. I would love to vibe with them, and to build that awesome friendship and relationship. It definitely takes two to tango, and it definitely takes, one for another to understand, the dynamics of that friendship, relationship, and etc. If somebody's coming at me ill, all disrespectful, bad energy, bringing a lot of stuff that might be bad for my mental health and so forth, I'm not going to pay them any mind, and I'm not just going to pay them any attention at all, because why would I? They're bad for my health. They're bad for my life. You know what I mean? I have, severed a lot of ties, believe it or not, with people that are very toxic in my life. Whether if it was, a former friend or, a coworker that I just never vibed with and so forth. Whether it be a relative, you know what I mean? Those type of individuals, those individuals that do nothing good for my life but complain, bitch, moan, and try to jab, shots at me for no reason, for bringing, negativity in my life. I just, I got to kick them to the curb, bro. It's simple as that. It's either me or them, and it's not going to be me, so I got to kick them out. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit, Carl. I don't know if it did or not, but at least it gives you a little bit of an understanding of where I'm coming from with that question that you gave me, which is, again, a good question. So, question number 9. Kim, are there other martial art companies besides Century Martial Arts and Key International that you would give your endorsement on? Kevin from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Yo. All right. Well, first off, my Canadian brother, thank you. Thank you so much for the question. That's a real good question. Wow. If I was to give, love to other martial art companies out there, I can definitely say the following. Tiger Claw Martial Arts Supply, I think they're really good. Recently, I've worked with them and bought a uniform, which is a martial arts elite line, where it has like the black trim, like a Murukwon Taekwondo traditional black belt uniform with the black stripes on the side, and with their diamond weave lightweight fabric. It's incredible. I've worked with them recently and they are awesome. I also like Best Martial Arts. Best Martial Arts is basically in the same brotherhood of Mutu Martial Arts. It's kind of like how Toyota also has Lexus, so it's kind of like that type of thing. I like them because currently, right now, they are literally, like their namesake, the best martial art company when it comes to catering to martial artists that are Korean stylists. You know, Taekwondo, Tongsudo, Hapkido. I would even go as far as saying that they got some Kuksul Wan uniforms, which is great. And I've always invested in their products when it comes to like the Korean style, because I do take Korean style of martial arts. Even Golden Tiger Martial Arts, also known as Ken's Trading, they got some good stuff. You know what I mean? The only thing that I'm complaining about Golden Tiger right now is I wish that they would bring back the Murukwon uniform that they once had. But because it's no longer there anymore, and that's like not even an option for them because they just stopped making it, I'm not putting them dead last, but at least in this, list of martial art companies that I can endorse, they would probably be near the bottom of the barrel. The last one probably be Macho Martial Arts. And I'm not too familiar with their stuff, but I know it's a lot better than most other martial art companies out there that are garbage. Like Pro Force, I can't stand their uniforms. It's just a weak uniform. It's right concept, but I think the quality is really bad. It's shoddy, I can't get down with them. I will give them credit for other things that they're doing, like martial art supplies and things of that sort, and training equipment like a kicking paddle. But for a uniform, can't do it there. So, and the last question, which will end this, is the following. Question number 10. Kim, do you believe that men are from Mars and women are from Venus? Roberta from Casa Grande, Arizona. Roberta, we've heard this many a times, this phrase, right? That men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's got to be true, because men are from a different world than women, and vice versa. Can we coexist now? I believe that we can. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of understanding. If you're not willing to put in the work, then yeah, of course the relationship is going to be done. It's going to tank really quick. So in that respect, yes, I do believe that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. But the most important part of this equation, though, is that, if you're willing to work together and gung-ho together, then whatever it is that you want to do in this life, when it comes to that type of relationship, it can work. It really can work. Anything's possible. You just got to work hard. You got to believe. And you just got to say, all right, this is what we're aiming for. And this is what I want. And that's it. Wow. Can you believe that? Another episode in the books, guys. Outstanding. I love it. I wouldn't, you know, I'm proud of this. It's great stuff. So let's go ahead and get this closed up. You know, obviously, I got a lot to do tonight, and you know, it's going to be a good one. So let's go ahead and close it. Good notes, good times. Yeah. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and close it up. My God, I'm delaying it, guys. Follow your boy. I'm on Facebook. Just go over to Facebook and look under the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience under the search box. Like it and follow it. We would appreciate that. We are also on other social media platforms such as Instagram and on Twitter, now known as X. Follow me on the tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word. We are on 6 podcasting platforms of Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast on all of those mentioned podcasting platforms. Do us a solid. If you have Spotify, please give us a 5-star ranking. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star ranking and a positive written review. The more times that we get great reviews and great rankings in our, you know, podcasting platforms, then it's actually going to, you know, give a lot of buzz. You know, it's going to be good for the FYP. You know, so it's going to be great in that respect. And you know, next thing you know, our podcast could be shown in the front lines. And somebody could be like, oh my gosh, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I heard about this because Carolyn told me about it. And she says it's awesome. And she said that we should like, follow, and subscribe to it. Yes, please do. On all of those, just please. And also, do us a solid. Share the podcast on all of your podcasting, share the podcast on all of your social media outlets. The Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, now known as X. There's also Snapchat. A lot of people still do Snapchat. I'm surprised about that. And TikTok. And also let people know in person. Whether if it's a family member, whether if it's a friend, if it's a work colleague, if it's your next door neighbor, if it's a random dude across the street, or even somebody that you bumped into over at the Safeway supermarket, let them know. Let them know about the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Last but not least, if you want to be a guest on our show or a guest host, to ask a question on our Q&A session, or if you want to send a suggestion, you know, on certain subject matters, or just, you know, in general about our podcast, please email us. Go ahead and send it to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Put in the any subject on the subject box. Once you reach the body of the email, go ahead and write it out and let us know what you think. And then after that, just email it and send it out, and we will just go ahead and read it and get back with you within a day or two. You know? Simple as that. And most important, guys, please be safe out there. Life's too short, you know what I mean? We want you to be safe. We want you to be happy. It doesn't do us anything, it doesn't do us any good if you do some bad stuff and you land in a pine box and get buried 6 feet under. We don't want that to happen to you, because we want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be living life. And we want you to go for yours, because we believe that you deserve it. And anybody else that tells you otherwise, that you don't deserve it and you're not worth the damn, Give them the middle finger and tell them to go, F off. You know what I mean? Because you deserve it. And I believe that, we all deserve everything good in our lives. And I really think that, we need to really love and respect one another. You know what I mean? Give that support. So that's it, guys. I'm done. Not much more I can do. I think we just hit that nail in the coffin, and we're just ready to rock and roll with the next one. You know what I mean? So that being said, for the one time here at the place that started it all, at the Asian Sensation Studios in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the host of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I am your Asian sensation. I am the host with the most, the man with the plan, guy that can bring the power within the hour, the dude with the right attitude, and the guy that's so nice, he didn't do it once, he did it twice, maybe 3 times, by just go ahead and promoting himself. It's been real, guys. Thank you so much. God bless y'all. Be safe out there. Be well. And we'll catch you on the next one right here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Be well, guys. I'm out. Peace.